Who are you, then?
Prakash Bhavan, engineer cadet. I was told to report on board.
You'll be wanting the captain, then. Follow me.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you check it. Because I tell you, tomorrow is just not an option. Yeah, nothing until tomorrow. I really do believe this. Yes?
Prakash Bhavan, engineer cadet. I was told to report on board.
Right, well, welcome aboard. I'm Captain Surnham, Mr. Callow, first officer. Yeah, no! No, I said no. Look, we are supposed to be sailing. Yeah, will you do that? Ship's joining instructions, make sure you read them. Look, sort him out, will you? We'll never get underway at this rate. Show him to his cabin, then get him down to the engine room straight away. His chief's under enough pressure as it is.
Follow me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am telling you that that is just not good enough.
This is yours. There you go. I'll leave you to it.
You're the new cadet?
Yes.
Get your skates on. Chief wants you right away.
Yeah, who's that? What? No, calm down. Who is that?
Don't tell me, man. There's fire! There's fire in the engine room!
Where's the chief?
Oh, my God, no, the chief is burned, man. He's horribly burned.
Yeah, is everybody out?
Oh, God.
What? Marvin? What do you mean he's not there? Joe, get him out! Just get him out!
certified dead at the scene. We do know that the fire started in the auxiliary engine room of the MV Caruso. Chief Engineer Harry Newcastle...
Henderson Marine Investigations. Yes, Mr. Dunlop. Oh, yes. Cumbria P&I. How can I help you?
A spokesman for Blue Wave Marine has promised a full inquiry.
It's on the news now.
This latest death
Yeah.
brings to 19 the number of merchant seamen who this year
Right,
alone have been killed in similar incidents.
You'd better give me the details. Captain aboard.
Who wants him?
Jan Henderson.
You come about the fire?
Captain on board, is he?
Yeah, try his day cabin.
Thanks.
It was his own fault, you know.
What? What was whose fault?
The fire. The bloke who died. It was his own bloody fault. Shouldn't have been meddling.
Yes, but that's going to take a week, so lose it. We're
Captain Cernam.
Yes.
Jan Henderson from the Marine Insurers.
Ah. Well, pleased to meet you. Mr. Callow, my first officer.
Nice to meet you.
We'll finish this later, yeah? Well, take a seat, Mr. Henderson.
Busy time just now.
Busy. The phones, the fax, the telex, they never stop, and head office wants all the answers by yesterday. So, how long will all this take? Your investigations?
Suppose we start with the basics. Tell me what happened. The sequence of events. We'll take it from there.
Well, the timings, details, and so forth, I think you'll find they're all in there.
Thanks. I'd still like to hear it from you.
Well, we were preparing to get underway. We'd had one or two technical problems with the secondary radar on the last trip. I wanted to assure myself the repairs authorized by head office had been carried out. Mr. Callow, my first officer, was with me.
Timings.
We were on Springs, high water 1250. Must have been shortly after 1100.
Dr. Henderson.
Yeah.
The captain said you wanted to speak to me.
Yeah, that's right. Where did you find Cadet Bava?
Over there.
Right.
We found Barland here. Down here.
How was he lying?
On his side.
Was he wearing a respirator?
No, he wasn't.
Are you sure?
Oh, positive.
Hey,
That's all. That's all you want to know.
I know. That's all.
This concludes notes taken on Engineer Cadet Prakash Bhavan, 19 of New Close, Humberside.
What the hell do you think you're playing at?
I told you, I need to check your certification. Look, turn that thing off.
It's
will you?
after midnight.
All right, kill the torch, okay?
What are you after?
A picture. A picture of how you do things on this ship. You're up for ISM audit soon. That means you've got to do things by the book, keep proper records.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
The cadet who died.
Bhavan. What about him?
There's no record here of him having signed the ship's articles. When did he join?
Came aboard the morning of the 16th.
That's the same day as the fire.
That's right.
But there's no record of him having signed the ship's articles.
Well, there should be. He had his joining instructions. I gave them to him
Well, did he
myself
read
as soon as
them?
he
Did
came
he
on
see
board.
them?
As far as I know, I was busy. As I remember, I handed him on to Mr. Callow, the first officer.
And the fire was first reported at 11:37.
If that's what it says in the log.
Okay. Let's move on. Tell me about fire drills.
Every month. Roughly. Depends on the workload. We're understaffed as it is.
According to this, you haven't exercised the crew in fire drills for 8 or 9 weeks.
What? No, that can't be right.
Well, it's there. Read it yourself.
It's a mistake, that's all. That somebody just forgot to
Someone
fill
just
in the...
forgot. Solus requires ships to exercise fire drills in 3 different
regulation, the
scenarios.
options,
On
regulations.
deck, in the accommodation.
Yes, I'm firing the engine room. I do know the Solus requirement, Dr. Henderson.
I'm sure you do, Captain. So tell me, how often do you exercise fire drills in the engine room?
The last one
Was
was...
5 months ago. I know. I've seen the file. Now that was the same watch as the cadet who died, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you met him, when he came on board.
I don't know, it's on the other side.
You're on the other side. Tell me your full name, Mr. Turvey.
Paul Patrick Turvey,
Old age?
28.
And how long have you been second engineer?
2 or 3 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And on this ship?
8 or 9 months.
Tell me about the chief engineer, Harry Newcastle.
How is he?
Badly burned. He won't be looking after engines for a while, that's for sure.
Is he going to be okay? Is he going to pull through like?
Hospital said that they were cautiously optimistic. I think that was the phrase they used.
Jesus. Sorry, yeah. What did you want to know?
How did you get on with him? I mean, you were his number 2.
Oh, well enough, like. I mean, we weren't exactly mates, like, but, you know, we got on okay. He was old school, like.
Old school?
We did things by the book. You know, a bit of a stickler for detail. Didn't take any jip from the youngsters either.
Did you ever give him any jip?
Yeah, I did once. Only once, mind. We got on okay after that, you know. Had a sort of understanding.
Yeah. So you rate him as a chief engineer?
Yeah, I rate him. But what is all this? The bloke's in hospital, right?
Why?
Why?
Why do you rate him?
Why? Because he knows his engines, that's why. He
Yep.
knows them like the back of his hand.
Yet there was a fire.
Yeah, there was a fire. Shit happens.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, fires happen. There's not a ship I've been on where there hasn't been a fire of one sort or another sometime. I mean, you've got oil, you've got heat, you've got electric, you've got fuel under pressure. Shit happens. Fires happen.
about the procedures for indenting for spares, replacement parts?
Well, the chief takes care of all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but you must have noticed things, brought them to his attention.
Sometimes, like, yeah, so?
So tell me about them. About the procedures. The systems in place for getting replacements, for communication between the ship and head office. Thank you. That'll be all.
Well, he seems to know what he's doing anyway. What happens now?
We wait. We just wait.
This seems to be a pretty thorough piece of work.
Yes.
Ah, good morning.
Morning.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Hugh Sinclair, Chief Executive.
How do you do?
Barry McManus, my Fleet Safety
do.
Officer. Captain Cernam, you've already met.
Captain. Thank you, gentlemen. The facts of the matter, insofar as they are agreed between all parties, appear in some detail in the report that you have before you. I take it you all had the opportunity to study both parts of the report.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good. The loss of a young cadet's life makes this a pretty harrowing experience. Prakash Bhavin was 19. The MV Caruso was his first ship. The impression on board the ship, at least, gentlemen, was that Prakash Bhavin had been fiddling with the fuel system in some way, that his inexperience was directly responsible for the fire, and therefore he was indirectly responsible for his own death. Is that an accurate impression, Captain Cernam, of opinion aboard the ship?
Well, broadly speaking, yes. Yes, I would say that it is.
What you're looking at, gentlemen, is a fuel pipe that carries diesel to one of the auxiliary engines. There is no evidence that Engineer Cadet Bhavin had been fiddling with the fuel mechanism as reported in good faith by those who think they saw what happened. The tests, detailed here in the report, show that the integrity of the join is breached. If you look at it carefully, Mr. McManus, you can see it with the naked eye. Under pressure, something in the region of 1400 psi, heated fuel seeped from this tubing in mist or droplet
When
form.
that vapor hit the first hot surface,
It ignited, precisely. If you are looking for a physical culprit, then this is your man. That is, if you are looking for a superficial cause to the fire.
Superficial?
In one sense, the fire really began 8 months ago. On October the 10th last year, off British Honduras, there was another fire aboard the MV Caruso. It was only a small fire.
Yeah, a very small fire. In the engine room, a mat caught fire. It was reported, logged in the proper fashion. We placed the mat.
Indeed you did. And you put the fire extinguisher back in its usual place, ready for the next time. That next time, gentlemen, was in May of this year. Only this time, the fire was not so small. Even so, it could probably have been contained, if not extinguished, if the fire extinguisher had worked. It did not. In the months since that first small fire, the gas propellant in the partly used fire extinguisher leaked. But nobody noticed. Nobody noticed because nobody checked. And no one checked because no one person, no one system told them to check.
You are suggesting that I am to blame, that this is my fault? It is the responsibility of the crew in the engine room, of the chief engineer.
These are photocopies of the relevant engine room maintenance log. They show that the fire extinguishers have not been checked by suitably qualified personnel for the last 16 months. The Safety of Life at Sea Convention requires that fire extinguishers are checked by qualified personnel or replaced every 12 months.
Captain Surnham?
Yeah, my officers know that I hold them responsible for the efficient running and the organization of their departments. Naturally, I assumed that they would carry out whatever checks were necessary. If it is true that this fire extinguisher...
In this company, Captain Surnham, we like to think we stick with tradition. That means this, that the ultimate safety and efficiency of any of our vessels lies with one man, the captain. Captains are in charge of ships, Captain Surnham, not first officers or chief engineers. The Caruso was your responsibility. Go on, Dr. Henderson.
The chief engineer aboard the MV Caruso was Harry Newcastle, a well-respected, highly experienced chief engineer with 25 years sea time under his belt. Well, it seemed most unlikely that such a potential danger as a corroded fuel pipe would pass unnoticed by such a man. So I checked. You're all familiar, I take it, with Form A445, a notification of fault form issued by Blue Wave Marine for the replacement of worn or damaged mechanical stores.
Yes, well, I'm afraid we've received no such request, at least not from the Caruso. I know, since I've checked the record since the fire.
April the 3rd, 6 weeks before the fire, Harry Newcastle indented for replacement tubing. Your office never received the notification of fault form for the simple reason it was never sent. It never left the ship.
Yes?
Somewhere between Harry Newcastle's organized filing system and the head office of Blue Wave Marine, this particular form, this A445, goes missing.
You think I feel nothing for this young man? This boy who dies on my ship? You come aboard my ship with your theories and your little box of tools and your scientific way of doing things, but what you are really looking for is a scapegoat, is someone to blame, someone to take the pressure off.
Captain Surnham.
Pressure? You want to know what pressure is like? Well, real pressure? Well, I'll tell you. It is trying to remember 1,000 things at once. 100 new laws, protocols, instructions, working in an industry that wants, demands faster turnarounds, greater efficiency from people whose level of training, whose knowledge is going down.
Captain! That's quite enough. Thank you, Dr. Henderson.
All of us round this table know what the pressures are like at sea today. There's not enough people, there's not enough time, there's not enough money. In the last 20 or 30 years, the job has changed out of all recognition. It's the same for most businesses today. Except for one thing. The sea. It's the sea that makes the difference. On our ships, in our offices, there has to be a positive culture of safety. And that has to be there all the time, in everything we do. In my experience, most accidents, fires, disasters, rarely have a single catastrophic cause. Rather, it's the accumulation of little errors, bad practice, of shortcuts taken to save time and money. Ships that don't keep proper records, that don't record everything they do, every single check, every single survey, every single drill. Ships that leave things to chance, to memory. Those are the ships that experience shows are heading for disaster. 3 men died. 3 men. Because one of them forgot to check the fastening on this tiny eye plate. That was the first investigation I ever conducted. And it's taught me a lesson that I shall never forget. That it's the little errors, together, that lead to tragedy. It's the wrong shoes in the galley, the oil on the deck, the gear not properly stowed, the fire extinguisher used once and never checked. Cut them out of the picture, and disaster stays away. Ignore them, and sooner or later, the sea will have you. Prakash Bhavan's ship's articles, unsigned, and probably unread too.
Ship's joining instructions, make sure you read them.
With no formal system of introduction, no orientation, Cadet Bhavan went on duty without the slightest chance to familiarize himself with his ship. Bhavan was completely disorientated. He thought he was heading for safety. But he wasn't. The price, the cost of an absence of a culture of safety, where everything is planned and recorded, cost Prakash Bhavan his life.
When's the inquest?
Next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Thank you. Gentlemen, Captain. What about you and your ship? It's true what I said back there. Accidents rarely have a single catastrophic cause. They start with the little things, the small things. Is there a culture of safety on your ship? Are you part of it? You should be. It could save your life.